Suzanne Barron, founder of Christ's Illuminati, reading from Matthew 4:14. I'm sorry. At that time, Herod the Tetrarch heard the reports about Jesus, and he asked his attendants, said to his attendants, I'm sorry, this is John the Baptist. He has risen from the dead. That is why miraculous powers are at work at him. Now, see, John the Baptist had just died. So he was like in his 30s, and Herod is the one who killed John the Baptist. So he knew that John was in his 30s. Now he's seeing this man out here who is also in his 30s, and he's saying that this man is John the Baptist. He's thinking that there's like a reincarnation going on because he knows 30 years hadn't taken place. 30 years has not taken place, and this man is performing these miraculous signs. He's got to be John the Baptist. But I'm Herod. That's John the Baptist. I just killed John the Baptist. So his spirit has somehow uh, reincarnated into this man. That's what he's thinking. Now Herod had arrested John and bound him and put him in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For John had been saying to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." Herod wanted to kill John, but he was afraid of the people because they considered John a prophet. On Herod's birthday, the daughter of Herodias danced for the guest and pleased Herod so much that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. Prompted her by her mother, she said, give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist." Do you see like conspiracy happening here? This is like conspiracy. And the king was distressed because of his oath and his dinner guests, he ordered that her request be granted, and he had John beheaded in prison. His head was brought in on a platter and given to the girl, who carried it to her mother. John's disciples came and took his body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. So, like I said, there's conspiracy here. You're dancing for the king. You're pleasing him, but I'm Philip's wife. It is lawful. It's not lawful for you to take her. Why? There's a reason why Philip shouldn't have been married to her. I should do some studies on that. But John's saying you shouldn't take her as wife. Herodias is mad because she doesn't like that. And her daughter dances in front of King Herod. And so King Herod makes a promise to do whatever she wants. She pleased him. And she said, give me John's head, because that's what the mother wanted. So it's conspiracy. It's happened here. A plot to take out John. I see spirits moving in that whole situation. Why? Because Philip's wife is full of sin anyways. The marriage situation that's between Philip and his wife is not good. Spirits inside of these people. They're living a sinful life. And John is calling it out. And because of that sin inside, that's her hate, her anger, the sin that she carried around inside of her, that's why she's like, I want his head. And killed him. But the spirits really wanted him dead. And they played a part in that. It's not seen, but I've seen it work like that in my life. It's like, why all of a sudden are these things happening to me? I mean, I could say paranoia, right? People would say that paranoia. It's not paranoia because they obviously are happening. I'm being put on the street. Just different things. Like, was Baker acted. I've just spent time in jail for domestic violence. I've never put my hands on my mom. Just things like that just keep happening. And what is that? It's the spirits. It's because you're around people who are full of the viper, as I've been calling him. It's been about 3 months since I've done a lesson, so it's kind of difficult for me to pick back up where it was at. But people are full of sin, body of sin, the viper. And because of that, he's going to attack you. If you're surrounded by those types of people, it's going to hurt you. He's going to hurt you. He's not going to make your life easy. He's not going to help you succeed. That's why it is good to be around Christians. When Jesus heard what had happened, he withdrew by boat privately to a solitary place. Hearing of this, the crowds followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them and healed their sick. At, as evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place, and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the village and buy food for themselves." And Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." "We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish," they answered. "Bring them here to me," he said, and he directed the people to sit on the grass. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children. So a miracle has taken place. This is what drew people into Jesus, is the miracles. If he had not been performing miracles and healing people, would he have drawn the people in? Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. What was he doing alone praying? He was communicating with the Spirit. He told us to pray in the secret place inside, where your Father sees in secret. There you will be rewarded in secret. Pray inside the secret place. Go inside the closet and shut the door, the closet of your mind, and pray in here, because He lives in here, in the secret place, secret society, hidden secret treasure, hidden secret place inside of you. To pray in here. He was communicating with the Spirit, like I communicate with him. I know this is true because I know what I'm hearing. I know what I'm hearing. I'm not the only person in the world who hears voices. I have found a singular voice. I know how to pick him out. I'm not sick. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land. The word, talking about the word, Jesus constantly, I know I'm off track. The word, the audible word, the word of God, the word. The word of God came and spoke to prophets, the word. Uh, my pastor walked out of church. He said that they were teaching a lesson that says the audible word will call you out of darkness. Oh no, written word. I'm sorry. The written word will call you out of darkness. But who in darkness is reading the written word? Look at these sinners in the world. Are they reading the written word? How is it ever going to call them out? He is calling them out, his audible word, and nobody can help them. Because Satan is right there too, speaking just like he spoke to Jesus in Matthew 4. They don't know what to do with it. They're not sick. They look sick. It is a sickness. Mental health is real, but it's a spiritual attack, is what it is. It's a spiritual attack. When you're depressed, something in your life is harming you, making you depressed, it's spiritual. It's all spiritual. And the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. So you're depressed and upset. So just prescribe pharmaceuticals and don't teach them how to change their lives in order for that depression to go away. Just fill them up with pharmaceuticals and tell them everything's going to be okay because you're on drugs. What's causing the depression in their life? Because it's going to be an outside source that's causing the internal affliction. It's like a child who can't focus in school. We say that they need ESC, or they're slow or something because they can't focus. What's going on at their home life? You just put them on medication. Maybe their parents are beating on them. Maybe their parents are fighting. Maybe there's drugs in the home. You just put them on drugs? You put them on drugs because you don't get down to the nitty gritty of what's causing their non ability to focus? That pharmaceuticals are a problem. And the world's lazy. I went to a mental health evaluation and that lady barely even spoke to me. She just prescribed me prescriptions. Not for schizophrenia, though, just so you know. She said it was for my anxiety. I never filled the prescription. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. So they believed in ghosts, walking ghosts. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." "Lord, if it is you," Peter replied, "tell me to come to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink, crying out, "Lord, save me." Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." When they had crossed over, they landed at Gennesaret. And when the men of that place recognized Jesus, they sent word to all the surrounding country. People brought all their sick to him and begged him to let the sick just touch the edge of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed. Please like, share, and follow. Subscribe. Keep watching. Thank you.